And welcome back to another episode of the Black Prosperity Podcast. My name is Jordan Pate Garrett. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and the youth services coordinator with the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. Today, I have with me some amazing guests. I have Mr.
Hester.
My name is Eva Bryant. I'm a licensed mental health counselor.
My name is Hilairson Petit-Frere. I am a assessment counselor with the Juvenile Service Department, also a RCSWI.
So today we are here to talk about healthy relationships, setting boundaries, and what that looks like in teen relationships. I'm going to start off with some quick stats just to kind of set the tone, but then I'm going to ask you all just a quick question to get us going. So I read recently that 19% of youth are currently in relationships where they are experiencing physical or sexual abuse. About half of them are experiencing stalking and harassment. And 65% of them are experiencing psychological abuse within their teen relationships. This isn't even adulthood. So I want to pose the question to you all. What is a healthy relationship? What does that look like? And you all we can keep this free flowing. So whoever wants to speak, just speak.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I think in order to understand what a healthy relationship is, we have to go back to the family dynamic of, where that child comes from and what they're exposed to. I think a lot of times they're not presented with what a healthy relationship is, so that does confuse them most of the time. A healthy relationship has a lot to do with having boundaries. It has a lot to do with respect. It has a lot to do with considering the person that you're actually dating. And I think that's the part that a lot of kids tend to confuse.
And I'll say with just healthy relationships, boundary setting can be seen as mean, like you're being mean. So like when you're kind of setting the boundaries, letting them know, like boundaries can be with time and energy. It can be emotional. It can be some physical as well. But like I said, at times it's seen as being mean if you set boundaries. But I also agree it definitely starts from the home. And if parents are speaking to their youth about dating, I would suggest that they speak to them about just kind of being intentional dating. So that way that, okay, me and this person is actually doing a thing. I think that goes from there.
Definitely we're looking to trust, respect. Let me piggyback off what y'all said is about being in the home. If the child see a healthy relationship, father, mother, people that communicate effectively, positive communication, they tend to kind of emulate that feeling, that ideal. But if they're not getting that, guess what happened? You don't have that trust. You don't have that respect. Then now you're bringing jealousy into that. But to have a positive relationship, like a healthy relationship, you have to have all those things in transparency. And when you talk about transparency, it's just like what I'm doing, talking to my partner, being able to at least say, okay, I'm here, I'm there. This is what's going on. Oh, my feeling is hurt. This was happening. But that's to me, that's what I'll look at and come to a positive, healthy relationship.
And I know we keep throwing around the word boundaries as well. A lot of people don't even know what that means. So I want to ask again, like for me, boundaries, kind of like what Quintin was talking about, there are physical boundaries, there are emotional boundaries. What else did you say?
Time and energy.
Time and energy boundaries. And to me, that looks like, creating something that works for me and can support what I'm trying to do with another person. And that it still does respect them as well, but it also respects me as a person. So if you are touching me and I say, hey, please don't touch me. Even though I'm setting it, it's firm. Like you said, it may come off as mean, but also it comes off as I'm protecting my energy. I'm protecting my body.
The space.
What would you, if you had to explain it to someone who may have never heard it or hears it and doesn't understand it, how would you simplify it?
I'll take a jab at that. I think everyone already looked at me, huh? So it's interesting because I talk to my clients a lot about boundaries. You'd be surprised to know a lot of adults don't know how to identify their boundaries either. So I try to explain it to them that boundaries is basically that space where you start to feel uncomfortable. Whether it be conversation, whether it be physical, whether it be emotional, that little feeling you get where you start to go, it makes you feel a little confused about what you're experiencing in the moment. That is normally where your boundaries begin to be crossed. And a lot of people have a difficult time with saying, okay, that's where I draw the line. They tend to continue to let it flow because most of the time they're confused. And again, they're not used to setting boundaries. And most of the time, whoever's doing it is someone they love and care about. So they're like, okay, I think this is wrong. And I know this doesn't feel good, but I love you. So this is weird, you know? And then a lot of times people, as opposed to expressing, hey, you know, that made me uncomfortable. I didn't enjoy what happened just then, or maybe it confused me. They tend to go into the whole idea of basically making up a scenario in their head as far as, you know, oh, they did that because of this. Oh, they don't like me. Oh, they're judging me. And instead of having a conversation about it and understanding that this person crossed your boundaries, right? A lot of times they don't even know they crossed your boundaries because you never said it to begin with. Right. So it's about, again, that moment you start to feel uncomfortable. You start to ask yourself, what is going on right now? Why do I feel this way? That is normally where the boundary is being crossed.
Okay. I'll try to stay within the same ballpark, but I believe it just has to do with just kind of putting self first still in the relationship. So still having some kind of individualism. Yeah, just kind of respecting self. I know definitely having uncomfortable conversations, I think, can create healthy relationships, but we stray away from those uncomfortable conversations because we tend to think, hey, if we do have this conversation, then I'll possibly break up or, you know, we'll go our different ways. But I think that'll actually make your relationship stronger. So I just advocate for maybe parents or youth to definitely take a step forward in those uncomfortable conversations early, so that way you know what's to be expected or what's not to be expected.
I think it's just knowing oneself. When it comes to boundaries, just knowing that, okay, that's my limit right here. And I think a lot of times people kind of sacrifice that whole boundary because, oh, I love him. Like you said earlier, it appears mean. Yeah. Sometimes they don't want to be mean, but sometimes you have to be mean because once somebody crosses that boundary, I can do whatever now. But it's just that knowing yourself, knowing that I'm not comfortable with this is not for me, and I can't do it. No matter if they're a friend, they're a relative, they're a lover, it doesn't matter. Even I have boundary with my wife. You get me? So I can't just think I'm going to do anything around my wife and it'll be okay because that's my wife. No, but I still have to respect her as herself, and I respect myself. So that's how I look at it.
I think that also while we're talking about boundaries and, you know, how we feel and everything, I think it's important to address the fact that it's important for parents to help children understand their boundaries as well.
Big time.
Parents cross kids' boundaries a lot.
Yeah. So, they don't know.
It starts in the home. It starts at home. So, like, you can't tell a child, you know, I brought you into this rock and take you out, but don't let nobody mess with you. But you messing with me.
Contradiction right there.
Yeah, exactly. Huge contradiction. Okay. So, for sure, I think parents have to understand it starts at home. They have to give the kids the space to, you know, express what those boundaries are respectfully, respectfully, but overall just helping them understand what those boundaries are and also having conversations about relationships. I think a lot of parents, they want to avoid it. It's, you're not allowed to date. That's it. There's no need to talk about this. But I think it's very important to have the conversation about, you know, what it's like to be in a relationship, especially if you know it's not being exhibited within the home.
Ooh. And Eva, earlier you mentioned a cultural component because what's your background?
I am Haitian American.
And what was the statement?
Hey yo.
Yes, Haitians. Jordan asked me about you know, getting a perspective of dating, teen dating as far as Haitians. I said dating. I'm sorry, it's lakay l'école l'église. There is no dating in the Haitian culture when it comes to teens. That means home, school, church. That is it, honey.
And I would even say in the Black American household, it's similar. They're a little more open, a little more flexible, but your focus is school, sports.
Yes.
And making sure the house is clean. You know, your little boyfriend, your little girlfriend, like that's not wildly accepted most times in a more traditional home. I'll say that. But Quintin, you mentioned something that I do want to highlight, especially now. Like, there's an article in the news every day. We were talking about an article this morning. You said having the tough conversations within teen relationships early, like teens having those hard conversations with each other. What happens when you have the conversation of, hey, I don't want to be with you anymore, and they don't accept it? And that's what we're seeing now. Teens are having those hard conversations, and they're not, the other person, the other partner, whether it be female or male, they're not accepting the no. They're not accepting the boundary. They're not allowing you to keep yourself safe. And then when you finally do tell an adult, if you do tell an adult, an authority figure, if you do, it might be too late. And most times teens don't have a trusted adult that they see that they can go to.
And that's what I would get at. I would get at adults or just peers, or not peers, adults should definitely have to do more when it comes to that. Like I know you were saying earlier, we adults look at relationships like, nah, you dating your kid, while you dating. But we know what's kind of going on. We was once the age, so we definitely have to insert ourselves in these situations so that way we can avoid, the stalking, and maybe even the worst. But I think that's on adults as well. I don't really know. I want to ask one of y'all, how do you handle that? How do you handle when you let someone know that, hey, like this isn't working, and that person is just consistently just kind of, at you about wanting it to work?
So in order to answer that, I think we also have to understand that the kids today are not the kids we were, for one. Correct. They are living in different times, and I honestly, I feel sorry for them. I empathize with them a lot because they're exposed to so much more, and it's making life harder for them.
Yeah.
So they're exposed to very adult things, i.e. toxic relationships. Everyone think it's cute when they post, oh, he don't love you if he don't have a boombox outside your house. He don't love you if you block him and he don't email you. I'm like, no, that's stalking. That's toxic. that is scary. But they are looking at it like, there was even a song that said, how do you know if he, I don't know the exact words. I think there's some cursing in it, so I don't want to say it, but it was something about how do you know. I thought it was legal to beat your, and I was just like, oh, wow, what is this? And it's just like, this is what they're listening to. This is what they're engaging in. And this is what they're considering as their couples goals. Like this is what they're saying. Yeah, we don't be like that. They got blue face. Okay. And I was just like, this is your goals.
So the culture as a whole have to make a shift.
Exactly. So it's not just having that conversation with your child. It's about what you're allowing your child to be exposed to. We knew growing up, listening to certain things, that this is not real. Right. It sounds good. I'm a jam, but when I close this, when I turn this TV off, that's it. Y'all heard the Haitian in me close? You're right. TV off. That's it. But like the children now, they believe what they're seeing because these are people, these are, social, celebrity influencers or whatever. And they believe it's real and it's really influencing them like to the core. And they don't want to hear what their parents got to say because we don't know what we talking about.
You're looking at these people who look like, they rich and famous. Exactly.
So that's what their, inspiration is, unfortunately. Again, that's why the conversations have to be had. And even if you see it, I have 4 children. I have a 14-year-old. We had a conversation about the whole Blueface and Chrisanne thing when it was happening, and his song came on and she turned it off. And I said, "What's wrong?" She was like, "Mom, they are so ghetto." And I said, "You're right. Good job, baby. I love you so much." And it was so beautiful. Yeah. It was such a beautiful, proud moment. But it made me ask her, like, why did you say that? And she was like, they fight, and I don't think that's right. I don't think he should be hitting her, and I think everything they're doing is too much. Like, I don't want to be like that. And I was like, okay, thank you, Jesus. So yeah, I think it's very important for us, again, to have those conversations for your child to recognize what a healthy relationship is and what an unhealthy relationship is.
Sure.
And I mean, the main thing is looking at social media, right? Everybody trying to give you that 5-second happiness and stuff like that, and the kids, they're feeding into that. That's what they see. Blueface and that. Even though they're fighting each other, but he take care of her. He buy a car. I'm like,
but love doesn't come with
conditions.
Yeah, it's unconditional.
It's unconditional.
Which means I love you no matter what you're doing for me. I love you, not despite how you treat me. Mm-hmm. Because you do have to treat me correctly for it to be unconditional.
Exactly.
It's not I love you because you eat them no matter how you treat me. Mm-hmm. No, it's respectful. It's unconditional. It's safe. Mm-hmm. When you're not feeling safe in those relationships, in those environments, and I wish we could get it across to them differently. Like social media, I hate bringing social media up. I'm not gonna lie, because as soon as teens hear social media, I'm like, I feel they're just like,
I don't want to hear this.
Technology have definitely created boundary issues.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And social issues.
For sure.
They don't know how to pick up on social cues, i.e., not understanding when someone doesn't want to be with you anymore.
Yes.
Why do you think it's appropriate to still continue to stalk that person or make yourself, like put yourself in that person's space when they just told you, you're making me uncomfortable?
Or you're hurting me with your case.
And I told you earlier we had a situation.
Well, yeah, explain your case.
So pretty much a kid came in with a battery, and
What is a battery? You know, for people who may not.
a battery is when you hit somebody without permission. So, no, not even permission. When you just hit somebody completely, okay?
Yeah.
But he came in, and what I noticed is that the disconnection between what he did and the victim.
How old were they?
16. I think he was 16, and I think the victim was about 15. Okay. So the disconnection where the victim is telling the police that I'm afraid for my life, I'm afraid for being around him, and you talking to the
saying different.
Yeah, he like, oh, she know I'll be playing around. I'm like, no, sir. She's found scared of you. Like, you hitting her and you leaving bruise on her body. That's not your property. That's not your child. And for you to do that, that means that there's something seriously going on and you're not even taking it seriously. So you're not even seeing that fine line where you already crossed. So I've actually hurting this young lady. So what's next?
How far are you willing to?
How far are you willing to go? I was just playing. No, it doesn't happen like that. You're going to go to the court. Your Honor, I was just playing, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Why she's dead?
Right.
Wait. Yeah.
No, but that's what it is that, like, people assume that I'm just playing, but then how far we're going to go. So I'm just playing. You're not seeing that. You're not seeing the pattern.
It's the disconnect.
Because
Big
we
disconnection.
talk about that in our spaces as well, like just not realizing when playing is going too far, when
Yes.
joking is going too far. That's, like you said, there's a disconnect somewhere in that prefrontal cortex that's
It's not-
still like developing. But still, as a parent, at what point do you tell your child you're playing too much?
Mm-hmm.
You need to relax. There's a line here. You need to stop. Or as a teacher, or as a coach, or as a mentor, or as a tutor, at what point does the adult in your life say, "Hey, this is the line. If it was anybody else, you could be playing a dangerous game." Because right now you got diversion. This child who got a battery charge, he's getting diversion.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, what happens when you take it a step too far and she's scared and she has a panic attack and now she can't breathe and now she has passed out or passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad that we have to think to these extremes, but these are the extremes that are happening right now. These are the things that they're seeing at school, on the news. They're seeing their friends being killed by other students that they're around on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
And we're creating trauma. And it's not you playing around, but that's her trauma. That's things like that she got to deal with, you know. And not only that, the child gonna be scarred. Now they got to do therapy. You got to do all this thing when they could have just been a regular kid.
I think the part that we miss as well is the kid. I don't know him, but sometimes what ends up happening is they blame the victim as well.
Yeah.
She got me in trouble. I'm here because of her.
Exactly.
You know, she told on me. And if the parent doesn't see the full picture, they'll start to, help him believe that, oh yeah, you didn't do nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she blamed you.
And now you're raising somebody who can't be accountable.
Mm-hmm.
At all.
That leads to predatory behavior, like high risk behaviors, like.
And I don't even want to just
More
more
issues.
boys. We see it.
Oh,
now
absolutely,
more
with
so
girls.
Girls.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
Both ways.
So as growing up as a young man, I felt like I dealt with young women trying to bully you, just in certain situations. It's just like like if you dating and I don't know, like you say, you don't want to date that young lady no more. It comes to a point where they want to force themselves on you, or they want to force you to be like this, and that creates unhealthy relationships as well. So I would say it's definitely bullying within that, but I don't know. I feel like as a man, I advocate to my youth, my men youth, my boy youth, just to be upfront, with them. I know a lot of times they think it's cool when you're like lying, trying to date this girl and date that girl. But I think we can avoid that, and I speak for the young men by adult men speaking to the young men, letting them know. I just kind of be upfront. Like I say, speak with intention, and I think as men or boys we can avoid like the unhealthy part of it too as well, maybe.
Well, I wanted to backtrack into the social media conversation if that was okay.
Yeah.
So, because Jordan, you made a very valid point. You said, you try to stay away from it because kids, when they hear that, they're like, okay. I think you're right. And they do have access to it right now. And that is out of our control. I think what is in our control is how we monitor their use. Yeah. I think it's very important that parents are watching and paying attention to what their children are watching and creating open dialogue. If a child asks you a question about something they've seen, do not freak out. Don't take their device. Don't turn it off. Answer their questions and then help them understand why it's inappropriate, why they shouldn't be seeing it, and set the correct features on their devices so they don't see it, And because once they're exposed to it, now they're left to their own devices of what they think it is or what their friend told them it is. Yep. So at that point, you might as well have that conversation as far as, okay, baby, this is what that is. You too young for this, but this is what it is. Once they see it, you have to break it down to them so that they have the right education about what's going on.
Exactly.
When you allow them to explore their thoughts, their emotions, and then provide them with context, they can make their own assumptions on how they want to continue. And I think that's the most important. Allow your kids to ask why without shutting them down. Because I said so, that's not appropriate. Why, Mom? This is why, and this is why I don't think you should do it. Do you think you should do it? Well, when you explain it that way, no, I shouldn't. So there's so much, and I want to continue this conversation because we are flowing right now, right? But what do you want parents, what do you want teens to take away? Just give me a brief statement, Hilairson. What do you want them to take away?
Teens, listen, it's okay of rejection. And I think a lot of times kids don't understand that I gotta have it. It's okay for rejection. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. That when we reject you, keep it moving. Yeah, but it's okay. I think that's the main thing that a lot of kids nowadays don't actually understand is that, oh, he rejected me, now I can't have it. No, but it's okay to have rejection.
Okay.
I'd like to say a relationship doesn't define you. And look, you made me lose my thought. I had it. A relationship does not define you. And dang it.
When you come back,
it was so smooth.
They come back. I think I just want to be simple. I just want to just ask for help. Just in those situations, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're a young adult. It's your first time going through these things. Ask for help. And then with parents, when they ask for help, or adults when they ask for help, be open to give them that help without shunning them.
Okay,
I'm ready.
Go ahead. Yeah.
A relationship does not define you, and love does not hurt.
Okay.
The misconception that love hurts. It's supposed to hurt. It's supposed to be this painful, grueling experience. No, it's not. And for parents, listen to your child. Be open with them. Make time for them. And if you start to see signs that are, high-risk behaviors, i.e. self-harming, journaling about self-harming or hurting someone else, them getting into physical fights or, verbally threatening, get them some help. It is okay to get them some help. Get them therapy, put them in an extracurricular activity. That tends to help with that a lot. But help your child, while you still can. So, yeah.
And I do want to thank you all for your time. And I want to thank you all for listening and watching. Again, I'm Jordan Pate Garrett with the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. And this is another episode of the Black Prosperity Podcast. Thank you.
Clear.
Y'all really ate with that.
Hey, that last part, I had to realize I was